you, everyone, for spending some very important time with me this morning. This morning for me, since we are on Eastern Standard Time, morning for most of us, I would say. So creative leadership, what is it? We could talk a lot about it, but how do we actually get there? So as we take a look and move forward, I'd like you to think about the image that you see before you. Essentially, you see a man in a business suit, probably a leader, inside a box. So what does that mean? Your path to creative leadership. Step out of the box and into possibility. So if I were to ask all of you that are with us this morning, do you live in a box? I'm sure your first thought would be, no, of course I don't. I live in a house, or I live in an apartment or condo, or wherever you live. But if I were to ask you, when is the last time you took a chance, challenged yourself, or reflected on your choice and decisions from a different angle? How would you answer? If you cannot remember the last time you did any of those things, that's living essentially inside a box, kind of an imaginary box, if you will, that represents your circumstances, your choices and decisions. It's so easy to get stuck inside a box. We're creatures of habit. It's easier and more comfortable to surround ourselves with the ways we've always done things, right? It feels we don't like change a lot. We like to do things. Think about the last time you went to the gym, and I do this. I get on the same exact treadmill number 10. We're creatures of habit, and the way we've always done things has gotten us far, right? No, but it's the path to leadership. You have to step out of the box and into possibility. Accepting possibility as your norm is the only way that you will reach beyond this point today or even for success and significance in the future. So think about that. Let it resonate. Are you living inside a box? Are you stuck inside a box? What are we going to do to get out of that box? Creative leadership, or what creative leadership is, and why is it so important? To be successful, leaders need to inspire their teams to collaborate, to be innovative, solve problems creatively, take risks, and improve the bottom line. That's the new job description for leaders in today's competitive business environment. Inspiring others to want to achieve professional excellence is one of your toughest challenges. I'm sure we all feel that challenge. To meet this challenge, you've got to coach and motivate and reward and ignite your teams and get them excited. Because being a leader is really difficult. I say that so much. We can sit in a room and talk about leadership. We can get excited about leadership. But what do we go forward and do? What are the things that we are doing to be that creative leader, to be that inspiring leader? It's tough. It's easy to talk about, very tough to do. That's why most of us end up taking direction from others in our professional lives, right? Kind of staying in our comfort zone. But the ranks of the self-employed are swelling, hinting that more people are getting comfortable taking the reins in their own hands. And in fact, becoming a leader, just about yourself, is something anyone who's committed to the task can master. There's no inborn quality that leaders possess. Some of us here, oh, he's a born leader. No, he had some great examples. He had the initiative to get there, or she had the initiative to get there. Just ordinary people who decide at one point or another to do extraordinary things. In my particular background, I joined the service at 17 years old. Didn't know anything about anything. I had some incredible mentors and leaders that took me under their wing and helped me believe that I could do more. I could go to college. I could go to graduate school. I could be an officer. I could do anything I wanted to do. I had some incredible leadership examples, some creative leaders that helped me step outside of that box. It doesn't take just courage. It demands creativity, the kind that you need to actively nurture and practice. It's an active engagement to be a creative leader. And I found in order to become that leader, you need to develop some certain qualities. You've got to tap into your creative intelligence in order to keep ahead of the crowd, to stay nimble, to inspire those around you, for you and the folks that you lead to push themselves, as the leaders that led me did. Creativity has always been in the heart of business. We know that. But until now, it hasn't been at the top of management agendas. It's kind of like the buzzword right now. By definition, the ability to create something novel and appropriate. Creativity is that. It is essential to entrepreneurship. It is essential to stay competitive in today's very competitive market. It gets the new business started, and it sustains that best company's practices. After those companies have reached those global scale, they have to continually be moving forward. But perhaps because creativity was considered unmanageable or maybe even too elusive and intangible to pin down, maybe that's why we've struggled with it. Or because concentrating on it produced less immediate payoff. We're always about that immediate payoff rather than improving the long-term execution. Creativity has, however, long been a focus of academics in fields ranging from anthropology to neuroscience, and has enticed management scholars as well. Therefore, a substantial body of work on creativity has been now available to any business person. So it's kind of working its way in there and allowing us to step back from the daily management and engage into questions. And that's suddenly very fortunate. That's exciting because that used to be the concern for many. The shift to a more innovative, driven economy has been a little abrupt. Today's execution capabilities are widely shared, and the life cycles of new offerings are short. So as competition turns into a pointed question, as it turns into a game who can generate the best and the greatest number of ideas, creativity scholars are being asked about their research. How do you get there? How do we do that? So what does this mean, and how relevant is it to you today? Does it offer guidance on decisions that leaders in creativity-dependent businesses have to make? I say yes. So then how do we get there? Let's first take a look then at some of the traits that are seen in creative leaders. These are just some traits, creative traits. So let's think about it first. Folks who can rattle some cages, right? Change is constant. In the natural world or in politics and business, the only thing that stays the same is the fact that nothing stays the same. We've all heard that. Some people wait until they're propelled into leadership positions by forces around them. But really, let's think about some of the best leaders, from Joan of Arc to Martin Luther King Jr. to Steve Jobs, who first provoked themselves into action, then the people around them. They're constantly imagining new possibilities. They instigate change that they envision even when others don't. That's pretty exciting stuff. Yet perhaps the only major difference between these great leaders and the average Joe is that they're willing to do something rather than let circumstances dictate for them. Are you willing to do something? Are you ready to lean forward in the foxhole, which is one of my favorite terms? So what that typically means then is rattling those cages and shaking up long-standing beliefs and institutions, which it's never easy or universally well received. But that's precisely what makes them great. To rise to the true leadership potential, chances are you'll need to rattle a few cages. Additional trait, they listen to intuition. There are know to be true and things we feel to be true. Thanks to our education, most of us tend to lean on our existing knowledge base to solve problems and make decisions. But the best leaders, the most creative leaders, are those who realize that the only things they sense, those possibilities that lie just beyond the realm of known, hold a very special value. So listening to them is how real breakthroughs happen. But I would admit, have problems balancing that logic with intuition. But the truth is, those who facilitate and allow that can figure out and allow them to work together. If you're going to become that creative leader, you've got to figure out the balance between logic and intuition. Logic and intuition. Another trait that we've seen with creative leaders is they move fast. One of the biggest stumbling blocks to accomplish something is perfectionism. The need to get exactly right. If you've ever been in a team or with a work group that just has to really get exactly right before they hit the go button, but the best leaders realize that perfection is an impossibility, and pursuing perfection often stands in the way of what is most important, and it's that progress, that movement, that get her done kind of attitude. We've got to hit the go button and feel good about hitting the go button and realize we might make mistakes along the way, but we'll learn and become stronger from those, and we make greater progress by allowing ourselves to do that. So with that, don't buy into the notion that you can take a giant leap if you spend enough time carefully mapping